My name is Christel Thames. I'm one of the careers consultants here at Brunel. I support students studying life sciences, clinical sciences and education. Today I'll be talking you through online applications. This video is one of a series of videos compiled into a playlist, so you can pick and mix between them and watch them in the order that suits you best. Today I'm going to be covering the following. First, we'll look at what you can be doing before you actually begin the online application, and then we'll talk through some common questions, how to write a supporting statement that's often required for online applications, and finally I'll share with you some really useful links that will enhance your application further. Okay, before you start your online application, it's important to understand the role and the criteria for selection. What makes you a suitable candidate? Check the person spec, the person specification, usually found at the end of the job description. Look at the skills and knowledge listed on it and ensure that you can provide evidence that you have all or most of the skills. You're likely to be graded against each aspect of the person spec. If you have at least 70% of the skills required, we would encourage you to apply. Next, research the organisation and the sector to develop your commercial awareness. Is the organisation you're applying to a large multinational or a local, small or medium-sized enterprise? Does it have a mission statement or core aims? Who are its competitors? What does it have in the pipeline? What are the current challenges of the sector? The organisation's Twitter feed and online presence will help you to answer some of these questions. And in addition, I will signpost a useful link at the end of this video that will help you further. You should also be aware of the common sections you'll be faced with in an online application. These are likely to be education, work experience, interests, achievements and referees. Is there an opportunity to upload extra documents such as a supporting statement or CV? If so, tailor these to the person specification before you begin the online application. So to recap, check the person spec, find out about the organisation, be aware of common sections and find out if any additional information is needed. Finally, put time aside to complete the application. Your first online application for a graduate role could take hours. Don't leave it till the last minute. Applications may close early. The company's server might get overloaded, so your application might get held up and you'll miss the deadline. You can avoid this by applying as soon as possible. Okay, we're now going to go on to look at online questions. In addition to the standard sections that I've already mentioned, there are likely to be online questions you'll have to answer. We advise you to copy and paste these questions into Word or similar and save your answers so that you can review them if you're shortlisted. Your answers should illustrate that you're a great candidate for the role, so read the job description and the careers section of the employer's website carefully before you begin. Make sure all your answers are evidence-based. State not just what your transferable skills are, but what the evidence is that proves you have these skills. Follow the online instructions and be mindful of word counts. Try to get as close as you can to the word limit, but do not go over it. Now let's look at some of the common questions listed here. Why have you applied? This question is asking you, why do you want this job? You'll need to refer to the research you will have done on the company or organisation, as well as the job description and person specification. Look for synergy between your professional aims and those of the organisation. If you have a long list of reasons as to why you would like to apply, consider the power of 3. Mention the 3 main reasons that most strongly introduce you as the ideal candidate and provide evidence from your life to back up your reasons. Another common question is that about your strengths and weaknesses. What's being asked here is for evidence of your strengths and weaknesses in relation to this role. Please refer back to the person spec in order to answer. Which are your strongest skills and attributes from the list on the person spec? What is the evidence that this is the case? Now, the weaknesses question is not included to trip you up. Instead, it's asking for proof of your ability to learn in order to succeed. If you have challenges that make written work difficult for you, for example, then mention this, but include information that illustrates this will not be a barrier to your progress whilst at work. Alternatively, mention a weakness that could be considered a strength. A tendency to spend a long time checking work before submitting it could be proof of your attention to detail, for example. Another very common type of question on online applications is the competency-based question that normally starts with, tell us about a time when, or when have you? These questions are asking you to provide evidence of a time when you have demonstrated a specific skill linked to the person spec. Use the STAR framework to ensure that you include appropriate evidence in your answers. This will involve outlining the situation, the task, the actions and the results of a key piece of evidence from your life. This slide demonstrates how you can use the STAR framework. And if you employ this framework, you are likely to give recruiters the tools they need to shortlist you. Now, the first row in this table shows the key competencies taken from a graduate person specification. You can see their communication, effective team working, and problem solving. A corresponding online question to the communication competency could be, tell us about a time when you have communicated successfully. The model answer is provided for you in the second column on this table, and it outlines the situation, the task, the actions and the results that prove this applicant has the ability to communicate well. Let's just look at those briefly now. So the example is the applicant works in Bill's Cafe. The situation is it's a highly popular eatery. The task, what this applicant had to do at Bill's Cafe, is to deal with the customers and ensure they keep coming back. Now the actions, this is the longest part of the answer. This is really where you're outlining how you did that. This applicant politely greeted everyone, informed them of the waiting time, handed out menus and met their needs. Arguably the most important part of this framework is the result at the end. This is the positive outcome of your actions. In this case, the applicant ensured that customers went back every week and specifically asked for him or her. As a recruiter, if I can see that you're able to bring customers back every week, then I'm sure that in my particular context, you'll be able to do the same with my customers or my service users. So this level of detail will really help to get you shortlisted. We're now going to have a look at a supporting statement. If you're asked for a supporting statement or any other type of supporting document, please do upload the relevant information. Your competitors are sure to do so. Requests for a supporting statement are common, as in the example on this slide. The supporting statement or information should provide evidence of your rationale for applying to the role and illustrate the transferable skills that you bring to it, as listed on the person spec. Now, like any good story, your statement needs to have a clear beginning, middle and end. In the beginning, your opening paragraph, make sure that you list your main reasons for applying, but be sure to include evidence of your unique selling point for this role. I cannot stress enough how important it is to include in that first paragraph what sets you apart from other candidates, not just what makes you the same as them. Consider a piece of research you might have been involved in, your final year project or dissertation, some work experience or perhaps a placement year or internship, any volunteering you've been involved in, university societies membership and engagement, attendance at conferences, anything at all that shows you've gone above and beyond to gain some kind of knowledge or skill that's linked to the role that you're applying for. You can mention it here and give further information later on in your statement. Now, the body or the main part of your story or your statement is really using the STAR evidence that you have the skills and attributes required for the role as they are linked to the person spec. This will ensure that you're outcome focused throughout. You'll use the STAR framework and illustrate not just what you've done, but what this work has achieved. And this is how you can market yourself effectively to your employer. Use subheadings from the person spec to help the reader link your evidence to the competencies the organisation is looking for. In the final paragraph, the end to your story, make sure you include the reason why you'd like to work for that employer specifically. So, to recap, you need to state in your opening paragraph your reason for applying and your unique selling point for the role. Your following paragraphs are all about evidence, backing up, giving reasons, evidence, explaining what it is that you bring to the role as the person spec lists. Use the STAR framework in order to do this to make sure that the evidence is comprehensive. And then finally, state why you want to work for that particular employer. We really encourage you to use a word bank while you're putting the statement together. This will ensure that the language you use is straightforward and powerful. Please also check the word count. If it's not specified in the online application documents, then your statement should be no more than 2 sides in length. Okay, finally, it's really important to check and check again once you've completed your answers and all the documents needed for the online application. Some people find it really helpful to read their answers out loud. Everyone should check for grammar and spelling errors. Make sure the information is relevant to the organisation and the person spec, and that your evidence is taken from a variety of areas of your life. Make an appointment to see your careers consultant at any stage in putting together the online application. We can help generate ideas, develop them further, or check your work before it's sent off. Remember to keep a copy of your answers and your statement and your CV if that was what was required, so that you can refer to these before you're invited to interview. Finally, I'd like to share with you some really useful links. The first one is from our web pages, from the PDC web pages, that will show you how to research employers. The second is from the Brunel library guides that will show you how to do some investigation into market research in the area that you're hoping to enter. And finally, the last link shows you a really good word bank that you can use to ensure the language you're using is appropriate.